Hey there, Sagittarius. Welcome to your reading for the next 3 months, October, November, December of 2025. You have this pig spirit says, use your mind wisely. You have this turkey spirit says, give with gratitude and grace. And so it is a great time for gratitude and practicing gratitude, of course. Also, obviously, we talk about this all the time, that with Uranus and Gemini in your opposite sign, your mind is going to be on fire. So, that card says use your mind wisely. I mean, you could really have some genius ideas, even though Uranus will go retrograde in November into Taurus. It is retrograde, but, it won't retrograde back into Taurus until November, I'm saying. Again, your ideas are going to be fire here, Sagittarius. So I would be using those ideas to create success. I think if I were to give you, I've been giving everybody, like, at the end of their reading, like, one thing that I would really focus on. But for you, I'm going to give it to you up front. So I'm not going to make you wait, Sagittarius. But what I would say is, they say that small hinges swing big doors, right? It's like that should be your mantra for from now until, like, the end of the year. It's like, I think what Sagittarius needs to realize is that those tiny little moves are actually going to be big moves, but, like, kind of in the future, if that makes sense. So that's all you have to do to have a lot of success by the end of the year, is focus on those, the small hinges that swing big doors, right? And, focusing on the efficient things. And so that's what I would be doing if I were you. You have the Knight of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, and the Devil. I forgot to say this first row is going to represent the three main themes that you're going to be dealing with during the next 3 months. And the Knight of Pentacles is progress. So, again, I actually feel pretty good about this card. I don't really normally like the Knight of Pentacles. He's the only knight in the tarot that isn't making a move. But like I said, I feel if you I almost just said if you smocus, I don't even know what that means, but if you focus on those small little kind of things, that's going to be what helps you the most. It's like, the best example I can give you is YouTube, because that's all I do all day. But it's like, obviously a small hinge for YouTube is going to be posting a freaking video, right? So it's like, that's what I mean. It's like you should be focusing on working on the things that actually open the doors, right? And, that's it. Very, very simple with the Knight of Pentacles. You have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, I said at the beginning of 2025 to pretty much everyone that this would be a year of efficiency. I think that 2026 is also going to be very similar in some ways. So, for like the next year or so, we really should be focusing on being efficient. Ten of Wands is a card of carrying a heavy burden, and he's very close to his home in the background, but what I would say is that he might be doing too much, or, maybe he's focusing on the wrong things, like we just talked about. So sometimes with the Ten of Wands, I do think we have to put those wands down, and we have to look at them and say, this activity works, this doesn't. We have to, become more efficient. And the Ten of Wands, I think, is definitely encouraging Sagittarius to lighten the load a little bit, because there's probably just better ways of, working on whatever you're working on. And even, it's like Ten of Wands doesn't have to be bad. You can have a successful business, for example, but you could still be doing some things the hard way. And so I would make sure that you're not doing that, and I would kind of like lighten the load. One thing I will say is in your third row, you have this card that says your hard work is paying off. So I definitely think that's a theme for you, is that your hard work, the work you've been doing all along, is probably starting to pay off at the end of the year here. Next, you have the Devil. The Devil came up for almost everybody, and so I think there's a couple of things that I think are kind of causing this. Number one, we have an eclipse today, actually, the day that I'm recording this video. So tomorrow it'll be the day after the Virgo eclipse, and that Virgo eclipse is all about healing. So part of healing, obviously, we have to remove ourselves from limiting situations or, things that are holding us back. I also think we're definitely in a time of, like, responsibility, and also seeing things through to the end, especially when next year in February, Saturn will move back into Aries, but like I would start now. I wouldn't wait until February, right? So I would, if you're working on something, there needs to be like a logical conclusion where you say, I am going to work on this until I cross, XYZ finish line. If you are committed to something at that level, you will be successful. Maybe not like right away, but eventually. If you're not committed, then you won't be. So definitely something to pay attention to. I also think it's an amazing time to, just eliminate bad habits in general with, South Node in Virgo plus the eclipse we're having in Virgo. We're going to have a whole series of Pisces Virgo eclipses between now and 2027. And so the last one is going to be in Virgo in March of 2027. And that's the last eclipse in this series of eclipses in Pisces Virgo. And so, again, it's like we're all probably working on deeper themes of healing until that point. And yeah, it would just be a good thing to do. Like getting responsible for your health, taking responsibility over your health, your mindset, things like that. With the Knight of Pentacles, you have the King of Pentacles. It's like you could be the King of Pentacles is what's popping into my head. I don't even know what that means because I normally wouldn't read that way. But I feel like something could be a lot more successful. I think you need to go to Home Depot and buy some hinges for the doors. Not literally, we're speaking figuratively here, Sagittarius. It's like, there might be, maybe you have crappy hinges on your doors right now. I know this isn't very helpful, but it's like there are probably better ways that you could open doors in your life, and I feel that could help, that literally could grow your wealth. The King of Pentacles is about wealth building. I do believe that all three fire signs are absolutely focused on wealth building until, not even until the end of the year, but I just feel there's an extra focus on wealth building right now, so that would also be a good theme for you to work on. With the Ten of Wands, yes, you have the Ace of Swords. With the Ace of Swords, we have to make sacrifices. The Ace of Swords cuts both ways. It's sharp on both sides. So the card itself can represent a victory or a success, overcoming an obstacle. But usually we have to cut one thing out. We have this palm frond right here, this olive branch over here. Palm fronds in the tarot can represent making a sacrifice or cutting something out. So I feel a lot of you, it's like there are hard things that are just hard in life that you need to eliminate so that you can have a victory. And there definitely could be, I would say there definitely could be a victory coming in for you here. With the Devil, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles is the juice worth the squeeze. He's looking at what he has grown on the card, and he's saying, like, is it worth it or not? And so that's what I would do. Like I said with that Ten of Wands, is I would look at the things you're working on or anything you're investing your time, effort, attention into, and I would say, like, is this worth it for me to work on this or not? And I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. You have to look at everything you're doing and kind of like simplify. Next, we're going to look at what you don't see coming. You have this companion card. It says loyal, devoted, courageous, and friend. You definitely could be attracting a solid connection. King of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, King of Cups, Two of Cups. Really good for love. You have this Ancestors card. It says wisdom, blessings, and karmic bonds. So you definitely could be receiving some blessings. If you tap in spiritually, which we will talk about with the Eight of Wands for sure. You have the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Swords, and the Eight of Wands. The Ace of Cups could be a love offer, and it could be a little bit unexpected. I don't think it's like totally unexpected, like you don't really see it, but I feel maybe it's just one of those things. Like sometimes, I think a reading can say something is unexpected, but we kind of expect it, but maybe we're not really looking for it. And, that's more the energy that I get for you here, Sag, where it's like maybe it's not like a, your major focus right now, but, it is clearly showing up here, and there definitely could be a love connection. I also feel like some of you, it's like you could be going, I feel that if you are meeting people right now, that you could meet a person where you're just like, at first, maybe you're like, okay, I'll see how this one goes. And I feel like it knocks your socks off. So, it could be like just meeting a person that kind of exceeds your expectations a little bit. Which is good, right? Finding a good person obviously would be a good thing. So you really could be kind of meeting the love of your life. Next, you have the Knight of Swords, Speed. I really like this reading for you with this and the Eight of Wands. Wheel of Fortune, as always, with you, and the Six of Wands. It's like this is something happening faster than you think, So even in your next row, you have this card. It says, expect a powerful change. So some sort of change or something you're working on could really lock in a lot sooner than you think. The thing I want to say to you, Sag, is like, really, you've been preparing for this for a very long time. Like, to the outside world, it's like, sure, maybe if you start a business, maybe it looks like it takes off quickly, but I feel like this has been like 20 years of work on your part. So really, this is probably something you've been preparing for a long time. It's like you've been learning a lot, maybe the lessons you've learned in life have gotten you to this point. And so really, is it taking off quickly? I would say no. It's probably taken 20 years. It would be like if I were to start a new YouTube channel. It's like maybe to some people it would look like it's grown quickly, but I also have over 10 years of experience on YouTube. So, you know what I'm saying? It really wasn't that fast. And that's what I feel there. You have the Eight of Wands, which again is a quick conclusion, something happening quickly. So, like I said, I feel there could be a victory or a win that's finally happening for you here, Sagittarius, which is good. I also feel that this is, Eight of Wands is a card of communication, and you have this Ancestors card. It says wisdom, blessings, karmic bonds. So it might be a great time for you to like tap in spiritually. It is a very spiritual time. We will have Neptune going back into Pisces in November. And so it's a great time to meditate, listen to your guides, however you do it, paying attention to sign symbols, synchronicities, all that could be how things speed up. Also, if you're looking for love, this person could be coming in through like a social opportunity here. We go straight to the Two of Cups. And so if you're looking for love, I would definitely be socializing. Here you go. Told you. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Four of Wands, which is marriage potential. You don't have to marry this person, but, again, the Four of Wands can be marriage. Could also just be a deep commitment that you make to a person. So I definitely feel this is like a solid love connection. You're pretty much like everybody had love, but you're the only sign that really has love in their reading. Like you're the only sign that I feel like really could be attracting something really, really solid. So that looks amazing. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is heaven on earth. It doesn't mean that you will have heaven on earth, but it means that you should start working on it. Nine of Pentacles is your environment, right? It is the energy around you. We have this tiny little snail right here, and the snails wear their homes on their back. And so the snail kind of represents what do you surround yourself with? The more you surround yourself with, positivity, light, good energy, things that make you feel abundant, whatever, the better things can get with the Nine of Pentacles. I would also be like that I think would be a good activity for you right now, Sagittarius, is like what activities are could potentially lead to heaven on earth for you. And I would start doing those activities, even if it requires work, right? And, that's what I feel the Nine of Pentacles wants you to do. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Hangman here. Yeah, it's like, again, with Uranus and Gemini, you are going to need, it's like you're going to be working with opposite perspectives. Uranus and Gemini is all perspectives all at once. So it's like, as humans, most of us, we think this or that for everything, right? That's how our brains work. And really, it's how our brains should work, right? Our brains only have so much energy, so much power. So, the reason we kind of do think in black or white terms is because it's simple. It doesn't require a lot of energy, right? But we do need to allow our brains to work a little bit right now. I've been encouraging people to do this. Like, if you're starting a project, like, can you come up with, 3 different ways to get started, for example? And it's not about being right either. It's just about experimenting, working with different perspectives. And that is kind of like a little bit of a superpower for you, especially with Uranus and Gemini. Even though it's retrograding out, doesn't matter. I always tell people we should be working with the energy sooner. It's already been in Gemini, and it is in Gemini right now, so you should be working with it right now. And that's exactly what I would be doing is, trying other things, trying new perspectives. Next, we are going to look at the challenges to overcome at this time. You have, over the next 3 months, you have this card. It says your hard work is paying off. You have this expect a powerful change. Not really a challenge, although sometimes change is challenging. But like I said, I feel like you're finally getting somewhere in life with that Four Wands. Four Wands, I feel like it's love in your reading, but it can be a very powerful like finish line card where we are about to cross a finish line or we are about to, accomplish something. And I feel that for a lot of you, you could finally be getting to a finish line or finally crossing a finish line here, which obviously would be a good thing. And I do feel like your hard work is paying off. Next, you have the King of Cups, the Five of Cups, and the Justice card also in the area of challenges to overcome. King of Cups definitely could be your emotions. Now, we are in a little bit of an emotional time, kind of like from two different perspectives as well. Number one, it's just emotional. Neptune will be in Pisces, and that could definitely make us feel emotional about things. It could make us think about the emotional connection to the things that we do, all of that. It's also, we are in a little bit of a hot-headed energy right now. I've been telling people for months now, like no road rage, no flipping people off on the road, no starting arguments in the home, things like that. So it's kind of like two different types of emotional energy that we're dealing with. Number one, with the King of Cups, we need to make sure that we don't drown in our emotions. We should absolutely process our emotions, right? We should, there's nothing wrong with emotions, of course, and so we should process them, but we need to process them in a constructive way at this time, right? We need to make sure, again, that we're not flipping people off on the road. We need to make sure that we're not taking things out on people who don't deserve it, things like that. And so as long as you're working with your emotions, things will go very well. The King of Cups, he also, again, he takes the time to think about something like his business or his health, and he goes deep into it. He explores it emotionally, and then he comes back out, and he's sitting in a very stable position. And so he has these choppy waters around him. This is like the time that we're in. We are in choppy waters, but because he has explored how he feels, he's taken the time to do it, and he's processed the emotions, he doesn't really worry about anything that's going on around him because he knows how he feels. And so it might be a good time for you to make sure that you process your emotions, but just don't drown in the emotion, right? Like, do something constructive with it. Journal about your feelings, write it down, put it outside of your body, right? Take a karate class, go punch a punching bag, right? Stuff like that. Next, you have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups can be like regrets or sadness. This to me is about you seeing the opportunity. I feel it's a very, very small little thing that you have in the back of your mind. He's grieving the loss of an opportunity he likes, or he thought he liked, but there's something new behind him. And then if he sees these two cups, he gets this bridge in the castle. So I feel this is about, like, if you feel like you're like an opportunity is slipping away, or if you feel like something you used to enjoy, you don't enjoy any longer, this card is saying that's just the natural process of life. It's just how life works. And, I feel a lot of you could be just like letting something go and enjoying something new, but maybe that's a little bit of a challenge. Next, you have the Justice card. Yeah, fairness is a little bit of a challenge right now. I kind of feel you're the only sign that has had this message, but I feel this is going to be something that people notice, like pretty much everyone, is fairness, whatever the hell that means, right? what is fairness? I don't know, it's different for everybody, but, thinking, if you start something, there might be moments where you think like, oh, it's not fair that other people find success 10 times faster than I do, or it's not fair that I didn't get into a relationship till I was 35, or whatever. I think that's the other thing I want to spit out here, is that I think a lot of people could be putting these requirements and like judging what they're getting. It's like if you want love and maybe you feel like you're old, I'm just using that as an example. It's like I feel like you need to realize that you're still getting something you want. And, maybe it seems like it wasn't fair, but you are balancing the energy. And there's something in that for you there, Sag, with that card. With the King of Cups, you have the Nine of Swords. I would definitely be careful of thinking that something is going to feel a certain way forever. That is another challenge that I think is kind of common at this time. I'll give you I'll bare my soul to you here, Sagittarius. Like a few weeks ago, I was kind of like in a little bit of a funk, like I was just in like a little bit of a weird energy where like I wasn't feeling very inspired. And I don't know. I'm one of those people. If I don't feel inspired to do something, I'm just not going to do it. Plain and simple. I need to feel excited about the things that I work on, because if I don't, then I just don't. And, I just don't do it, right? And so I was kind of like a little worried for a couple weeks because I just wasn't feeling the same. I wasn't feeling excited. I wasn't feeling motivated by anything. I wasn't feeling like things were going in a good direction, or, I don't know. It's just like in a weird energy, right? But, it didn't last forever. It came to an end. And I feel that right here for you, Sagittarius, where it's like, if you're feeling like you're in a little bit of a funk or like a weird energy, maybe it's saying you just need a break, right? Maybe it's saying that maybe you need time to do nothing, right? Just that simple. With the Five of Cups, you have the Page of Cups. I do feel those of you that want love, it's not really a challenge. I just feel, like I said, maybe some of you feel like you're too old or, whatever requirement you're putting on it. So that's kind of what I wanted to say was be careful of like putting certain requirements on the things that you want to accomplish or that you want to have, especially love. But I definitely feel there is love coming in here. With the Justice card, you have the Star, which is actually pretty good. The funny thing about the Star is if we were to pretend that this was a challenge for you, the challenge would be taking a break. The challenge would be slowing down. It's funny, we have a ton of speed and momentum cards in this reading. We're only missing the Chariot. And, you have the Ace of Swords, Knight of Swords, Eight of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. These are all cards, to me, that represent kind of like momentum, building speed in life. So knowing when to take a break, knowing when to recharge your batteries could be very important. That's very Neptune and Pisces, so definitely something that you could be working towards or on. Next, we're going to look at the good stuff. You have this Smoke and Mirrors card and this Willing Release card. We kind of said this on the Five of Cups, that being willing to release something that clearly isn't working would be a good idea. The Smoke and Mirrors card is like not seeing things clearly, but coming up in the good stuff, this could say that you are now seeing things clearly in your life, which obviously that would be a good thing for you, Sagittarius. You have the Six of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Two of Cups. Very good. Six of Wands is a victory or a big win coming in for you. I feel like you're finally having a victory that you've been hoping for or a win. With the Ace of Swords, this could also be directional. And what I mean by that is that with the Ace of Swords, it's a card of laser-like focus. So sometimes I feel when we get the Ace of Swords that we are looking for a focus. Same thing with the Star. The Star is like having a North Star, having that guiding light. And so maybe what you are finally discovering is your purpose or a goal or the inspiration that we were talking about. Like that's what I needed a couple weeks ago, and luckily I found it. And so I feel like you are going to find it, and that is good. You have the Wheel of Fortune, which you always get with me the past few months. This has been coming up for you like crazy. So, definitely could be a positive change in your fortunes here, Sag, and, that would be good. You have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups is a perfect match. So if you are looking for love, definitely a solid connection coming in for you. I'm pretty sure your past couple readings have been talking about love, so, wouldn't really surprise me if you're attracting a person. With the Six of Wands, you have the Five of Cups. Yeah, turn that frown upside down here, Sagittarius, because it looks to me like this part of the reading is saying that you are definitely discovering something that will not be a disappointment. I feel like you are discovering something that kind of pulls you out of this disappointment energy. With the Wheel of Fortune, damn, Sag, you have the Ten of Pentacles, which is amazing. Ten of Pentacles is everything you want and desire. Ten of Pentacles is really building, leaving a legacy, which, we have Uranus going into back into Taurus one more time in November. It will retrograde into Taurus. So definitely a good time to focus on, building, leaving a legacy, creating something great in your life, creating success, creating abundance. That's what you could be doing with this Ten of Pentacles for sure. With the Two of Cups, you have two cards. You have the King of Wands and the Six of Wands again. So you have the Six of Wands twice, which is definitely a victory. King of Wands here could be your energy. You could be focusing on like taking the lead in your life. This could also say if you're attracting love that it feels like a victory finally in your love life, which obviously that could be a good thing as well. But let's see here, Sag. We're going to look for anything else that wants to come out. You have this Discovery card, very Sagittarius card. This is Mercury in Sagittarius, this card. This is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. So, I think, I've been saying to you all year that it's like you are returning to your Sagittarius nature. And so I feel you're more open to discovery, more open to doing new things. You have this Organization card. I actually feel like you should be messy right now. It's almost like you need to create these blocks is how I'm seeing it in my head for you. I think this is a good idea, but feel free to tell me if it's not. By the way, I forgot to say, make sure to like and leave a comment on this video. It really helps me out. But it's almost like you need to create these creative times, right? Where you allow yourself to be messy. You know, especially if you're working on a project, it's like there might be certain steps that you follow, right, to accomplish your goal. But it's like inside of that, maybe you need to have like an hour of creative time, you know, where you just do whatever. You know, you just kind of mess around with it, right? I know that's very general, but that's what I get. You have this detachment card. Yes, definitely. I think that this is would be a superpower for people right now, especially when we get into next year. One of my big problems I have with Neptune and Aries, which will be Neptune will move back into Aries in January of next year, is that I think people will maybe take things too seriously, especially with Saturn will also move back into Aries in February. So I think people will attach too much to outcome. And obviously not doing that would be a good thing. You know, just kind of like being willing to experiment, see how things go. You have this caution card. This card is like caution against people, basically, right? She has a bunch of animals running towards her on this card. So she only has so much time. And I feel that definitely some of you, maybe something that we didn't really talk about, doesn't even come up in the reading except for with this card, is that having boundaries with people, you know, making sure that you don't overcommit to things is popping into my head here with that card. And finally, you have this decision card. I feel like you're finally it's like you're being shown the way. You know, Ace of Swords, Six of Wands with that Five of Cups. You know, it's like the Eight of Wands as well. It's almost like you're off to the races. Maybe you've felt stuck for a long time, and now you're finally making progress, which is very good, Sagittarius, for sure. So this looks good. I like it. Thank you for being here. Make sure to like and leave a comment below. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your next 3 months.